حي على الفلاح. حي على الله أكبر الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر
لا إله إلا الله.
حق وصدق لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. الحمد لله الذي هدانا إلى دين الإسلام وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله وأكمل لنا ديننا وأتم علينا نعمه فرضي لنا الإسلام دينا فلا نعبد إلا إياه ولا نستعين إلا به. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمدا عبد الله ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة فجزاه الله عنا وعن كل المسلمين خيرا. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد، رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters and fellow children in Islam, the new year is right around the corner, and with every year there are things that we are told in society to do to finish this year off on a high note and enter the new year strong. So, as per the trend of 2022, it's time to upload your favorite photo of the year, the most amazing view you had of 2022, or a 60-second summary of how your year went, keeping in mind that you only need to show the good experiences and not the hard times. Display smiling faces and uplifted spirits, not the dark moments in solitude, because as you know, they won't get the views and the likes you work so hard for. End the year by telling the world you are happy and successful, above all, that your life is amazing. As for what lies around the corner, the new year, once again, start spitting out lofty resolutions, anything. If you can't think of any, copy someone else's. And why not? Because everyone knows resolutions to lose weight, take that trip, live healthier, start that project, get a degree, or start your dream company are only pandering to oneself, because we all know resolutions never become a reality. They are lies you tell yourself to pacify your fancies, to forget the past 365 days and expect the next 365 days to be blissful. And you know well, in the end, it ain't going to happen, because you know the roadblock that prevents you from making it a reality year after year, and that is you and yourself. But then why do we do it year after year? Why do we expect that when a ball drops in Times Square, the last year is done and the new year is perfect? That all the pains that we've carried in these months are now dissolved, and that everything should be bright and beautiful. You know, my fellow Muslims, it's because we live in a world that tells us to be confident, know it all, look smart and sexy, young and beautiful, appealing and amazing, hip with those moves, smooth with those words, and deeper in those duds. Sadly, it doesn't work, at least for me. I want us all to take a moment now and reflect. How many more people are out there that they are the me's, i.e., they are in this world feeling the same way, that it just doesn't work for me? Now think about those who believe they aren't like me. They're dope, they're sick, they're trendy, the world loves them. Why can't I be like them? Why can't I be famous with, say, my hands like Kabilain? Or known for my talent like Mr. Beast? Or accomplished for my work like Messi? I'm here to tell you and myself today, my fellow Muslims, that you can. Everyone can. But in their unique way. But in order for you to be accomplished, successful, confident, known, and trend, it requires two things. Number one is to remove everyone from your peripheral vision and be yourself. Remove everyone from your peripheral vision and be yourself. And number two, take Allah along with you. The first ingredients of success is letting go of everyone else and to be yourself. Stop fixating on the lives of other people. Stop fantasizing about being like someone else. Stop adoring those who are out of your league, because Allah didn't create you all to be in one league in the first place. If you want to end the world, if you want to end this year on a high note, it's time to love yourself. And only you can love yourself and nobody else. How do I love myself? Except beyond acknowledging that Allah made me unique. He made me with His hands. I don't need to be ashamed about my appearance, my looks, my size, or my age. I am perfect because my Allah, who created me and made me, He is perfect. Until we don't reach that moment in time that we're able to see that we are a creation of Allah and not something disgusting that walks this earth, we're never going to be able to come to terms with this point. Love yourself, because Allah created you out of His love for you. I want to take a little detour here, and I don't want to go into social media today, because this is part 4 of an ongoing series about the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how we can, beyond understanding them, incorporate them and live with these attributes of our Allah, our Creator, our Master, is a point I just want to leave out there for all of us. And that is, when do you know that it's time to disengage from social media? When you begin to hate yourself. When you begin to hate yourself, it's an indication, it's a red flag, it's a blaring alarm that now it's time to cut off. Because when you don't, not only will you be engulfed in the flames of hatred towards yourself, you will then hate your family. You'll hate your parents, you'll hate your spouse, you'll hate your children. And then it goes further, because then you'll hate those who are around you. And then you will hate everything about life. Social media isn't new, but it isn't old. And we don't know everything, but we know enough to know that this isn't the tool to gauge one's success, one's acceptance, one's appeal factor in this world. So, coming back now, remember one thing about those who are trendsetters in a world that is superficial. And this is a message not just for our kids, This is a message for our adults. This is a message for our moms and our grandmoms, our dads and our grandfathers. Because insecurity is ripe in our world today. If you want to know something about those famous trendsetters on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and the whole 9 yards, is that they live a life of insecurity and fear. The insecurity that someone else may do what they do better than they do it. And the fear that they may be forgotten after working so hard to be known. My fellow Muslims, as a Muslim, we are taught that the staunch reality of this temporary world that we all reside in is that there is no way to stay up. There has to be a decline after rise. And interestingly, the Quran depicts an example which to me is a perfect fit, like a hand in a glove, of what it means to fall from grace, what it means to fall from fame, what it means to be forgotten after being the one that the world not only admired but they drooled upon. And that's the story of Qarun. And again, yes, Qarun wasn't on social media, and social media didn't exist that day, but he lived a lifestyle so lavish, a lifestyle of pomp and fame, a lifestyle where he displayed his power and his might and his wealth. He lived large, and he made sure the world knew it. The people used to say, Ya layta lana, I wish we had Ma utiya Qarun. What Qarun has. The guy's got everything. Allah, if you give me 10% of that, I'll be happy. Allah, if you give me 5% of that, I'll be happy. He's got 100 camels carrying the keys of his treasures. How large are his treasures? Man, this guy rolls. I want to have just one of those camels, Allah. Allah not only showed him the result of his actions, he showed us the result of that superficial reality. You won't stay there. You can't stay there. No one ever has. No one ever will. فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. Allah tells us not only did He have Qarun fall from that grace, but Allah made the very earth we're sitting on swallow him and swallow his treasures. There is no grave, there is no palace, there is no camels, there is no keys, there is no gold, there is no rubies. You know why? Because it went down with him. It doesn't last. It wasn't meant to last. So don't believe that this defines you. Again, if you want to be unique, if you want to be known, if you want to be accepted, the two ingredients, number one is remove everyone and focus on yourself and love yourself because Allah loves you. Fine, your parents hate you. Fine, your spouse despises you. Fine, your siblings are jealous of you. Take it. But there's one who never has and never will, and that is Allah. Why are we betraying Him? And He doesn't want us to sit in prostration for the rest of our lives to acknowledge that. He just wants you to know that so that you don't do wrong to yourself. If we can incorporate this vital ingredient, which is to love oneself, we will experience an increased level of self-confidence, obtain inner peace, and make an impact on this world that will outlast our mortal existence. People who won't know your name will appreciate your presence and contribution and keep your legacy trending forever. As a seer once said, liked by few, hated by many, respected by all. Point number two, and that is taking Allah along with you. And that is the title of today's sermon, part 4. What do you mean by just Allah and me? You know, look, Imam, I got a life, I got a degree, I do things, people listen to me. You know, I'm not a devout Muslim. I believe we must live in this world and embrace what this world is all about. How can you tell me that I only need to have Allah and nothing else? Valid question. What do you mean just Allah and me? Well, because, my fellow Muslims, Allah is Al-Awwal. He is the first. He is Al-Akhir, the last. He exists beyond space and time. In its current state, the world is the product of time and space. Allah is the creator of time and space. He's not confined to it, nor does he require what exists within its confinement. Subhanallah. This is mind-boggling. It's crazy, because all we know is a fraction of what's out there that's restricted and confined between time and space, and Allah is above and beyond that. He has the ability beyond it all. His sovereignty exists above it all, for He is also Al-Malik, the sovereign one, the one who is the absolute ruler. Before this universe existed, Allah existed. Before time existed, Allah existed. Before there was anything, Allah was there. We can't comprehend this. But Allah is the first. And Allah is not telling you, beg me to be on your side. Allah is saying, I'm here waiting. Do you want me on your side? Because I'm willing to be on your side. I'll just stand here and wait. Huwa al-awwalu wal-akhiru. He is the first, He is the last. What does it mean He is the last? Well, a time is coming, my fellow Muslims. A time is coming when this entire universe, this very earth on which we walk with confidence, the skies in which we fly these jumbo planes and these private jets, will rest asunder. They will fall, they will break, they will crack, they will float like, the mountains will float like cotton. This entire universe will be destroyed by the command of the Creator when that time is appointed, which only He knows, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at that time, death will be the reality of every creation, even Jibreel alayhi salam. And at that moment, Allah will ask, Limanil mulkul yawm? Who's the king today? Limanil mulkul yawm? To whom belongs sovereignty today? Limanil mulkul yawm? Who is the absolute ruler today? It's the same one who has always been and will always be. Lillahi al-wahid al-qahhar. Allah. Why do I need Allah? Not only is He awwal and akhir, He's al-zahir, the manifest one. Everything you see has His trademark on it. As a Muslim, faith entails that as we grow with age, we grow in faith, we grow with wisdom, we grow in maturity, that everything we see reminds me of Allah. It reminds me of Allah. The green grass after minus temperature reminds me of Allah. The leaves that are still on those trees after the bitter wind reminds me of Allah. There is nothing that deprives me from that reality. Not only is Allah the manifest one, but He's also al-batin, the hidden one. That despite everything shouting His existence and testifying His presence, He cannot be hidden. He cannot be forgotten. He cannot be deleted. He cannot be overwritten. The world has, and at times successfully, made people forget those who were once notable. But there were forces, there were kingdoms, there were armies that tried and are still trying to delete the name Allah from the existence of this universe. And guess what? They've always failed, and they will always fail. You and I only need one thing. You and I only need one connection and one relationship that matters. And that is my Allah and me. Me and my Allah. As the Quran reminds us, هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. You know that last week we talked about Allah being the one who knows everything, the one who's informed, Al-Khabir, who knows what's happening at this moment. Do you know one of the perks of Allah knowing everything is that you don't have to be burdened by it. He will let you know what you need to know on a need-to basis. That's how beautiful my Allah is. If you don't know something, it's because Allah doesn't want to see you hurt. Take, for example, your parents. And I want all of us to understand this because we all have parents. Those who are alive, may Allah grant them afiyah. Those whose parents have passed on, may Allah put light in their grave. Ameen. Your parents never told you the sacrifices they made for the things that you wanted, for the things that you needed. Remember that. My uncle in San Francisco used to tell me 20 years ago before I had my children, a day is going to come when you have to decide between buying something for yourself that you always needed and giving your children ice cream or those Eid clothes. And he was so right. This is what a parent does out of love. What does Allah do? So much more. Don't turn to Allah and blame Him. Allah, how come I never knew that? You never knew that because I didn't want to hurt you, because if you knew that, it would have broken you. And I love you and I don't want to see you broken. That's why I never told you. That's your Allah. That's my Allah. That's our Allah. To sit back and chillax because Allah knows everything. And if you and Allah are tight, everything is fine. Because not only does Allah know what's happening, what's going to happen, what happened, but Allah will handle it without telling you, without expressing it to you, because you mean so much to Him. Only because He means so much to you. You know, when you come to this point, you realize Allah isn't the GOAT. He's the best. He is beyond everything and everyone, space and time. Allah is beyond everything and everyone. He is beyond space and time. My Allah is the best. And I want to be with my Allah. Let us end this year with Allah. Let us enter the next year with Allah. Let us establish a relationship only with Allah and see then how those superficial relationships fall by the wayside and how those important relationships come back and establish themselves. May Allah allow us to recognize Him for who He truly is. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawala. My brothers and sisters and fellow children and elders, Allah is Awwal, Al-Akhir, Al-Zahir, Al-Batin, Al-Batin, Al-Malik. I want to end with 4 more of His beautiful attributes. And again, not just to know them, but to embrace them. Not only to embrace them, but to live within the confinements of them. Why only me and Allah, or Allah and me? Because Allah is Ar-Rahman. He's a compassionate. I don't think we truly comprehend what compassion means. You see, a lot of people say, those people are so nice. They do such selfless acts of goodness. We should be like them. You see, a person can only be merciful and compassionate when they see a situation that makes them feel bad for you. Allah being the compassionate means that you may be good right now, but Allah still has His mercy on you. He's still looking out for you. He's still caring about you. And then He's also Ar-Rahim, the merciful, that when something happens, He's there for you. He's there when the need arises. He's there when you think there's no need to arise. Allah is there. People can have a part of this quality of Ar-Rahim, but no one could be like Ar-Rahman. No one can be like Ar-Rahman. So why Allah and I alone? Because Allah is Rahman. He's compassionate. And He cares about you even when nothing is wrong. And He's Ar-Rahim. He's there with you when everything is wrong. And the fact that today our world is void of this mercy is a testimony of the fact that my relationship with my Allah is broken. Our Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever is deprived of kindness and mercy and gentleness is deprived of all good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Quddus. He's the pure one. You may have people who always like your post and lift your spirits and compliment you and praise you in front of you and behind you. But the one thing none of us have is those X-ray vision that Superman had. You can't see inside a person. But Allah tells us He's the pure one. And if there's someone I want on my side, is someone who is pure for me, who truly cares for me. And last but not least, to finish off the 9th attribute of our Allah is As-Salam. Allah is not just peace. Allah is the source of peace. If there's one thing we all desperately need right now in our personal life is peace. Do you know who owns peace? Do you know where to find the well of peace? Do you know where to tap into peace? It's Allah. My brothers and sisters, trends will come and go, people will come and go, times will change. Don't feel the need to continuously follow what time dictates. Don't waste your life on things that is wasting people's lives. Spend your time building that connection with the one who means everything. And if Allah's on your side, everything else doesn't matter. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a better year, a more solid relationship with Him, to establish that closeness to Him. May Allah allow us to find peace in Him. May Allah allow us to realize how pure He is to us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower His compassion and mercy upon us all. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. We send salutations and blessings upon Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who guided us and mentored us. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad abdika wa rasulika an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathiran kathira. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين اللهم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة نسألك نسألك اللهم من الخير كله ونعوذ بك اللهم من الشر كله. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Let us all rise inshallah and form our line, stand shoulder to shoulder. For those who are waiting outside, if the space inside is full,